Power scaling, referring to the determination of a character's relative power by comparison of themselves to other characters within their series. There's just one problem. The act of power scaling isn't objective, and while there's plenty of data to go off of when scaling a character, there's no guarantee of accuracy. If one wishes to scale a character, it becomes crucial to verify the accuracy of information given. This is the law of actually knowing what the fuck you're talking about. In accordance with this law, there is a taboo among scalers. Reading directly off the VSBW page is strictly forbidden. For what could equal the value of a fallacy? What's up, everybody? Crisis here. Settle down. Alright, I know. It's been a minute. I've got a real treat for you guys today. It's been a long time since I've done anything power scaling related, but I was stumbling around YouTube one night and I was just super bored. And I found this video titled, "How Strong is the Red Mist?" And I'm sitting here thinking, well, cool, it's a scaling video for one of my most recent obsessions, which is projectmoon. But I was so wrong, because this guy cannot power scale to save his life. And I could just scale Gebura on my own, or Callie, whatever you want to call her. But I'm not a teenager anymore, so I don't have, days to gather data, 3 hours to write a script, and another day or two to edit the shit to make it perfect. So, this is going to be more of like a reaction and a debunking, so we'll just debunk most of his points, or if not all of them, one by one. And if he wants to disagree, we can set up a time to go live together, and we'll debate it out that way. But without further ado, guys, we're just going to go ahead and jump right into this. I've got my media player pulled up and ready to go.
How strong is the red mist? The answer to this question might seem obvious, and there is already a source on this. But is that source truly accurate?
You'll see why that statement is ironic in a little bit. He reads directly, if you watch the intro, right? He reads directly off VSBW's page. And does not offer any alternative information to the page. So for him to question the validity of his main source is super funny to me.
I'll explain everything. Before we begin, for those who don't know who the Red Mist is, I'll give a brief summary of her story. After that, we'll dive into the power scaling. Gebura and Callie. These names represent different versions of the same person. In this video, I'll be focusing on Callie, because Callie represents Gebura in her prime.
And I'll stop that right there. So the first thing we want to go over is the fact that stating a character is in their prime just because it was a younger version of that character is not necessarily correct. Over the events of Lobotomy Corporation, you have, of course, the events of Lobotomy Corporation, but then you also have insights into the past events of Lobotomy Corporation, i.e. when Callie was, roaming the streets. Now, here's why that's significant. During the events of Lobotomy Corporation, it is canon that the time within Lobotomy Corporation, just the actual corporation, is being reset constantly. But the time outside of Lobotomy Corporation, i.e. the city as a whole, is still going forward. We can conclude very logically that from the years to decades to maybe just a little bit under a century that it has been since Callie has actually been a fixer, that the people of the city have gotten stronger. We know this because they're always in constant conflict. There's always some arms race going on. There's always people trying to outdo each other. The wings are always trying to fight each other for supremacy and all that nonsense. So we can very safely conclude that the city has gotten stronger during the events, from the events of Lobotomy Corporation and before Lobotomy Corporation up to the events of Library of Arena. In Library of Arena, of course, you can play as Gebura, who is also Callie, and is also able to be modified. So think her passives, her egos, her cards and abilities that she can pull from other receptions and other librarian skill sets, all of which she can have modified unto herself. So for us to sit here and say that Callie is stronger than Library of Arena, Gebura is just not. It's disingenuous at best and just an outright lie. at worst. But we'll go ahead and continue on and let's see what else he has to say. But right there, you can already see the validity of this guy's claims are ridiculously misplaced.
Her time as the Red Mist. Gebera's childhood was anything but stable. She grew up in a part of the backstreets that was constantly changing. While her neighbors weren't exactly the most kind-hearted people, there were a few adults who treated her nicely. Sadly, most of them would either vanish or end up brutally mutilated in the streets by the next morning. This was during the peak of the turf wars between syndicates. As Gebera explains, a chaotic time not unlike the conflicts happening in Elcorp's Nest. Through sheer luck and relentless observation, she managed to survive until the age of 13. Her ability to adapt and strategize allowed her to keep going, treating every moment as an extension of her borrowed time. By the age of 20, she had become a fixer, vowing never to sink to the level of the syndicates that plagued the backstreets. As a fixer, Callie finally found a semblance of stability. She believed that with her newfound power, she could protect her neighbors, the same people who had fed her when she was a child and who felt like the closest thing to family she'd ever known. However, her gratitude was met with betrayal. Those very neighbors conspired with others in her apartment to invade her home. They tied her up and searched for any money she might have hidden. Heartbroken and disillusioned, Callie saw them as nothing more than greedy, crawling parasites. The same people she had risked her life to protect. She could have broken free from the ropes at any moment, but she waited, clinging to the naive hope that this was all a misunderstanding or a cruel prank. That hope was shattered when she overheard them plotting to use her money to move somewhere else, leaving her behind. It was a harsh realization that left her enraged and in tears. In a fit of fury, Callie killed the intruders, the very people she once saw as her family. In that moment, she realized a bitter truth. The people she had tried to protect were no better than the syndicates. Given the chance, anyone would resort to violence and greed for their own survival. No matter how much power she gained or how hard she tried, Callie could not break this vicious cycle.
I just want to say, like, I like the consistent use of like the slow zoom blur and like the camera shake. It's funny.
It was a cycle that turned victims into perpetrators and hope into despair. Now, let's dive into the power scaling. And yes, I know, I didn't cover the entire story. That's because the rest of the story ties directly into the scaling itself. I'll be walking you through her power step by step, using key moments from her story to explain everything as we go. During her conversation with Roland, Gebera mentions how she effortlessly took down 5 index proxies and 3 messengers all on her own. So, what is the index? The index is one of the 5 fingers, known for their fatalistic and dogmatic beliefs. Their entire organization revolves around following cryptic, seemingly random tasks called prescripts. Proxies are the enforcers of the index, while messengers are nearly equal to proxies in terms of power. They possess the ability to grow stronger as the battle progresses, all while inflicting the fragile status on their enemies to exploit.
I think it's super funny that he's using the in-game stats of cards to determine the actual like prowess of a character, and you'll see why that becomes super funny in a moment. I'm gonna debunk the entire conclusion that we can use those cards as stats for an actual character.
Their vulnerabilities. In addition to applying fragile, they can also weaken their opponent's power, showcasing their mastery as seasoned and highly skilled warriors. They are each
It does not showcase anything in regards to experience.
Classified as star of the city level threats.
So he's going to use the classification of them being in a certain tier within the story to justify their level of power, which we know later on into the story of Library of Arena, which is not necessarily true. And even if it is true, it varies widely because certain stars of the city are much stronger than other stars of the city. Some stars of the city, if you were to put them up against kind of like an urban nightmare, they would still die. So you'll see how that is painfully misrepresented in just a moment.
Which means they are roughly on par with Ricardo in terms of power.
Yeah, putting a character just because they're in a tier within their story, using it to like justify them being relevant to another character is so beyond and crazy. This is like This is like the high class, low class Saiyans type deal, where Vegeta was just like, but I'm a high-class Saiyan, and then proceeded to get fucking mollywopped by like a Kaioken times 3 Goku.
This also implies that the 5 index proxies and
Also, for reference, at the time, I want to say that was before she was a color fixer, even if not, right? This would mean that every color fixer would be on the same level as like 5 stars of the city, which isn't true, because during the events of Library of Arena, the library, being considered a star of the city, goes up against a color fixer and kills them. So once again, it's just not how that works. It's not, you cannot use the tier of a character or an entity to justify a level of power.
3 index messengers that Red Mist defeated with ease are each at least multi-city block level.
And yeah, so he's gonna claim these guys as multi-city block, and then let's see what he uses to justify this claim.
And strength. Considering that Red Mist took on all of them by herself, it's safe to say that her power far exceeds them.
There you go. He doesn't. He just reads it directly off of VSBW and does not justify it, does not use any actual power scaling. He just says, well, VSBW says it's multi-city block. He says they're all multi-city block, so she's got to be multi-city block. Let me put it to you this way. If you're able to kill like 6 people that are all multi-city block level, you're probably a step above that.
At levels. In fact, we can confidently place her at multi-city block level ++.
You don't add ++ to lower level things. That's not how this works. If you're above multi-city block level, you would just be small town level. You don't add plus is so ridiculous. I could understand you seeing like, well, they're not exactly small town, right? So we'll put them at plus. Putting them at like plus is just straight up fucking ridiculous, and it tells me you have no idea how this works at all. The tiering system is just lost to this guy.
Solidifying our superiority. Now let's talk about
her superiority.
Red Mist speed. Once again,
This is where it gets so disingenuous, it's not even funny.
Using examples from the Index and Westba. According to a calculation made on the Versus Battle forums, an Index proselyte was shown to be fast enough to blitz a
This shit is so funny. This shit is so funny. Okay, so let's just break this down. Let's break this down to you. This rolled a 5. So in the game, she shot a bullet, right? It rolled a 5. The proselyte rolled a 10 and cuts the bullet. Let me tell you why this is disingenuous. One of the characters in the first reception of the game, the rats, I think I mentioned them earlier. If not, I apologize. The rats has a card that goes 2 to 6. So this is like saying that if the rat rolls a 6 and that shot rolls a 5, that the rat is hypersonic. It's a ridiculous claim to make based off of what occurs in-game, and it's just so completely disingenuous to the plot of the story that it's not even funny. This is like one of the... You actually can... No. I'm thinking of like a mod where you play as like a civilian, and the civilian can roll up to a 5. But a 5 would still deflect a 5 bullet. So it would just be super fucking funny if you just said, yeah, every civilian is capable of deflecting bullets. They're all hypersonic plus. The entire city is hypersonic plus. Fuck it. Throw out the scale. Like, no, this is stupid. This is a ridiculous claim to make for you to say, and you don't even need you do not need pixel scaling for this. This is what's even funnier. You straight up do not need pixel scaling for this scale. You could just say, simply because he deflected the bullet, he's hypersonic. The pixel scale adds nothing to the conversation. It adds nothing to the conversation. And like I said earlier, right? If the first people in the game, which are literally just civilians with knives, the rats are civilians with knives. That's like saying everybody is massively hypersonic. It's just a ridiculous claim to make. Literally disingenuous at best, outright lie at worst, and it's so funny that he's just reading this directly off VSBW, because I read VSBW to see like what the hell this guy was talking about, and he just straight up read it. Like, he's not scaling, he's not justifying, he's not doing any calculations himself. He's just saying, yeah, well, he deflected the bullet, so he's got to be massively hypersonic.
Bullet right as it left the barrel. With further calculation.
Right as it left the barrel, by the way. In a frame of reference, everything is right as it leaves the barrel.
Its speed was estimated to be...
Yeah, so see, look at this. Tamaki's gun is a sniper that's bigger than she is. Completely irrelevant. Considering the city is full of people with body-enhancing tech, that this is completely anti-material values. This is just ridiculous. This is not important. The pixel scaling here is not important at all. It would not even matter if you were to say, yeah, the bullet is going at this speed. Bullets in general are already super fucking fast. You're just not going to scale a character based off of a feat that they do in the game that is contingent on luck. If I have to roll a dice to make something happen, it's not valid anymore to the plot of the fucking story. This is like saying every civilian in the game is massively hypersonic. This is a ridiculous claim.
Around.
Yeah, Mach 249. Every civilian is Mach 249. This guy's fucking ridiculous.
Considering that the enemies attacking Red Mist were capable of reaching these insane speeds, and that she was able to take on 8 of them at once, this clearly proves that Red Mist is at the very least faster than...
He doesn't even need to do that either. He could have just said Mach 249. This is just blatantly not true. I'm not gonna sit here and say how fast she is, because you would have to go into story for that. You can't go based off of the game. It's ridiculous for you to use the game as a thing. This is like saying, well, Kratos, we see Kratos walk, and we see him sprint at full speed in the game. Like, he moves as fast as he can. He's just like a guy. He just moves like a guy. It is like scaling Kratos to like peak human in terms of fucking speed. This is ridiculous.
Now it's time to bring up Vespa as an example. Vespa, a grade 1 fixer from Distortion Detective, was able to effortlessly leap across an entire district carrying another person, despite being heavily injured. So why did I bring this up? Because if a
why did you bring this up?
grade 1 fixer can achieve such incredible speed and mobility,
You didn't mention anything about speed. You just said he went through a district. And he said sweep, so I'd assume he killed people in a district while carrying someone. This has nothing to do with speed.
there's absolutely no reason why a color fixer like the Red Mist wouldn't be capable of reaching or surpassing.
This guy's so fucking goofy.
Kali took down several claws and even defeated Bina herself during the invasion of one of the first Lobotomy Corporation facilities. She also participated in the final battle against the Hes Arbiter and the claws in the library. Now let's take a closer look at what Bina is capable of and use that to gauge just how powerful Red Mist truly is. She is basically Gojo on steroids. Bina possesses
That's gotta be the most disingenuous claim ever made. X character that is nothing like Gojo and does not even scale close to Gojo is like Gojo. This is fucking ridiculous.
an absurd arsenal of abilities, ranging from conceptual manipulation to outright negating defenses.
She does not have she does not have any of that shit. Everything he just said straight up is not true. Let me go back and hear exactly what he said again, because that's just straight up not fucking true.
Negating defenses with pale damage.
Negating defenses with pale damage. Pale damage is not relevant to the scaling of a character, and she's most certainly does not have any form of defense negation. We know that's true because in Lobotomy Corporation, and even if you use pale damage, there are suits that negate pale damage and reduce pale damage. So it's not defense negation. And then there's nothing stating that Bina is capable of causality manipulation or conceptual manipulation. She has none of that shit. None of it. And it's crazy. He doesn't use any scaling to justify this. He just makes claims. Reading straight off the fucking page, bro. Like he's reading a fucking book. This is crazy.
She can manipulate space, lock away
There is nothing that states Bina can manipulate space. This is fucking ridiculous.
abilities, weaken opponents, and even nullify powerful technology. Her attacks don't just target the body, they assault the mind, the soul, and reality itself.
They assault reality itself. Bro, please. Oh my god, bro. Somebody put a muzzle on their fucking dog, bro, because somebody let this motherfucker off the leash. He cannot be trusted without adult supervision. Y'all gotta keep this nigga on lock, because oh my god. Oh my god. This is the fucking craziest claim ever. No justification. She can assault reality. Fucking what?
And yet, despite all of this, Red Mist managed to not only survive but ultimately defeat her. This isn't just a testament to her raw power, it proves that Red Mist has an insane level of durability, capable of resisting high-tier hacks ability.
So funny. She has an insane level of durability, that which Bina can neg. Crazy. You can't even keep up with his own fucking claims.
That would normally render most fighters completely helpless. I almost forgot to mention, she's not just resistant to pale damage, but also to white and black damage as well. White,
which is completely irrelevant to Kali's scaling, because these fucking like attack damage types are only relevant to Lobotomy Corporation and possibly Limbus Company. I haven't played Limbus yet. But these are only relevant, as far as I'm concerned, to Lobotomy Corporation. Not even to the actual story of the game. Not even to the story of the game. It literally does not talk about, like, what exactly... if I want to remember, if I recall right, the lore says that, like, red is health, white is mental sanity, then, like, black is... It's just black, like, you can say it's both or whatever, but it doesn't really matter. And then pale damage attacks the soul, which is funny because pale damage in the game only targets physical health. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, using these to back up claims for your character is just fucking ridiculous to me.
Damage directly targets the mind, causing insanity, panic, or even suicide. Meanwhile, black damage strikes both the mind and body simultaneously, completely bypassing resistance to either. Yet, Red Mist endured both, proving her resilience isn't just physical, but extends to mental and existential threats as well. By the way, yes, I know that the reason Bina was killed was because she granted Kelly an honorable death, leaving herself open to an unexpected strike. But I don't think Red Mist won purely by luck. Think about it. Bina could have used J Corp's lock and F Corp's fairies to counter Red Mist's surprise attack.
No, it's just outright stated that Bina let her guard down. This is disingenuous.
Especially since these abilities activate instantly. And yet, being Gebra, she was the only...
Activate instantly. No, they don't. No, they don't. You're making claims with no justification. With no justification. Please, bro, please. I hope you see this. And I hope... Milkshakemann, is that your fucking name? I hope you see this. And I hope you come for me, dog. Because I cannot let you make these baseless ass claims any longer.
Anyone who could stop her before she died. This also proves that Red Mist possesses an advanced level of battle IQ. As seen here, Red Mist is capable of dealing area damage.
Okay. I will give you the idea that she can hit multiple people as once. We'll call that area damage.
While also disorienting enemies upon landing a hit. The description on hit destroy a combat page set on...
The description! Bro, this is oh my god, this is so ridiculous. You can straight up give cards to weak characters. You can give cards to any character in the game. You cannot use the description. This is like straight up saying like, if Gebura hits you, you're guaranteed to have stacks of bleed. What the fuck is a stack of bleed in real life? This doesn't make sense. You cannot use these descriptions to bolster your character. Like, no, that's not how this fucking works.
Another random speed die of the target suggests...
What would a speed die even be in the concept of scaling? What would a speed die be?
That whenever she strikes, she disrupts her opponent's actions, effectively stunning and staggering them. Additionally, she is a character who grows even stronger with every hit she lands.
That's not true. She has one skill that does that. You cannot fucking make the claim that she can get stronger every time she hits somebody. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, and it's so painfully clear.
Now let's talk about her ego form. Remember Virgilius from Leviathan? The one who, along with Iori, brought down an entire building without even using an ego form?
Yeah, I don't see an entire building being brought down there, though. I see an entire, I see a building have an explosion on top of it. That's not correct.
And keep in mind, this takes place...
Also, that would just say that they are like at most building level, which if these are Star of the City, shouldn't they be multi-city block level? Why don't we see the entire city block getting blown up? Maybe because you're fucking retarded.
In a dystopian future where buildings are far more durable than what we are used to. So,
where does it fucking say that the buildings are just more durable than normal buildings? You just claim after claim, this guy just fucking spouts.
following this logic, and considering that red mist is regarded as the strongest fixer to have ever existed in that world, it stands to reason that Kali...
There are several fixers that believe they can take down the red mist. This is like a ridiculous claim to make. There are several fixers in like Library of Arena that say, yeah, they think they could beat the red mist. And then I'm pretty sure by the time we get to the events of Limbus Company, everybody and their mother thinks they could have taken off Kali before she became Gebura, bro.
In our base form is far stronger, and if we also take into account the Hack's durability I mentioned earlier, her overall durability should be at least town level. Alright.
Her what should be town level?
Overall durability should... If we also take into account the Hack's durability I mentioned earlier, her overall durability...
Her oral durability? What the fuck are you talking about? Her ability to like fucking withstand words? Bro, oh my god. Oh my god, bro, please. Please, you need to be like put in a kennel, dog. Like, you need to be let out and fed on a general basis, because I don't think you can function on your own.
It should be at least town level. Alright, I've covered all of Red Mist's notable abilities. Now, for those who might still be wondering, let me make it clear once and for all. Yes, Homelander stands absolutely no chance against...
No, I'm done. This shit's too fucking funny.
I just started believing in myself. You don't know how good that shit feels. What is you doing? I'm fucking up the economy.